Hey everybody, welcome back. We're gonna get back to working on this mower deck real fast. Hopefully get this knocked out this morning. I got my parts in and I've got some bolts and whatnot to put that spring, or I'm sorry, the tensioner pulley in and get all of that secured up. So I'm gonna get a few things set up real fast, and as soon as I get that done, I'll set up the camera so you guys can see what I'm working with. All right, so I got my box of stuff in for the deck. I got online, as I mentioned, I was going to see about getting the wash port for it. And I did manage to find a discharge chute in the single point attachment, so I don't have to worry about the two-point attachment anymore. So I'll bust this box open, show you what I got, and we'll get to going. And got to drill some holes, put some bolts in, throw a couple of springs on, and then I'm going to try stuffing it under the mower and see what happens. Alrighty. Now that's my front attachment point. There's my adjustment nut for that. And here is my discharge chute, which apparently I need another part. Well, that's not good. Let me show you what's going on here. All right, so I ordered this discharge chute, and apparently I need another bracket that goes between these two bolts that this clips onto. I'm guessing is what I need. So I'm gonna have to see if I can find that, but for right now, I think what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with getting this all operational. We'll get it under the tractor and see if everything's gonna work the way I want. My new single point attachment up here, which gets rid of that bracket. Chuck that over there for right now. But yeah, this just lines up and centers the deck on the front. And then I got the adjustment bolt that goes down here on the end to adjust how it sits forwards and backwards. So yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and continue on with getting the bolts put in down here, get my tension spring put in, and see if it fits. Okay, quick update. I got my tensioner pulley actually all bolted down, new bolts down in the bottom, the long bolt through the top, and I've got the spring installed for the actual engagement side. I also went ahead and put in my little bracket. I had to drill some holes to mount the bracket for the clutch engagement cable to sit in, because that actually attaches right there in that hole and pulls this whole thing this way to tighten the belt up and make it run. So now I'm going to go ahead and try and get this mounted up underneath the little tractor here, and then as long as everything goes in, the belt goes in nice, fire it up and see what happens. Alright, we're back. Got the deck mounted up. I did run into a slight complication with the deck though. It no longer goes up as high as it used to. That's pretty much all the way down. And that's as high as I can get it now. It's apparently this deck height is different than the old one, so the pulleys are jamming up against the bottom of the mower now. So, for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and see if it'll start, make sure the blades engage and that everything works. But I probably should maybe open up the door first so that I don't asphyxiate myself in the building. See what happens. And there we have it. She works like she's supposed to again. I'm going to work on getting that bracket so I can put this discharge chute on, and then I got to put my hood back on. And it should be a running mower and can start mowing again. I just did a little piece right here in the driveway. I can't really get out into the yard. You can see standing water in multiple places, and it only gets worse the further into the yard I go. So for now, I think this is going to just wrap up the mower project. I'll get started on tearing apart that coal stove, and then I can move on to building the wood stove and whatever else I pull out of my stove. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start tearing into this coal stove, get it took apart so we can salvage stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the back side here and get all of this stuff that is bolted on removed. The thermal switch that I guess if it overheats it shuts everything off. I don't know what it did for this stove, but I'll get all of this stuff that I can unbolt taken off, and then I'll move around to the front and start getting these doors removed. The top one looks like it does come off the hinges over here, which will make it easier. I could just take the door off, cut the plate out, and then I can put the door back on to save for later. Now looking at it, looks like the bottom door will do the same thing, which will save me a lot of effort trying to fight with something heavy when I'm cutting it apart. So I'll go ahead and get started on taking this stuff apart, and I'll get back to you here in a little while with where I'm at with it. I'm really interested to see how all of this, the old coal chute, how that all worked in there. Because really can't tell what it did or how it did it. So as I take it apart, I guess I'll figure it out and see what I can salvage. All right, quick update. Got everything torn off the back. The actual coal chute here, I did not realize comes apart, and this cast iron where the coal sat originally comes off of there. Who knows? I might actually reuse that. I don't know. I'm going to keep all of the pieces because I may reuse them somewhere else. We got the actual shaker or stoker motor assembly pulled off. All of the electrical that controlled the fans and the stoker. And then both of the fans. Both of these fans do work. The big one I'm going to end up using on my buddy's maple sap evaporator. And this little one I might try and incorporate into my wood stove along with that cast iron base plate that I can maybe burn some coal as well as the wood in my stove. I did go ahead and keep all of my hardware in a little bin here just because you never know when you might need some extra hardware. And it turns out this controller is actually a limit switch for the fans. So apparently that was back into the firebox some, and as it heated up, it turned the fans on, the room blower on. So then I went ahead and pulled both front doors off so that I can then cut the plate out that holds the doors, and I'll save those. And then I'm just going to cut the rest of this thing apart and keep all of the plate, because this is all heavy, probably 3/16, maybe 1/8 inch. Some pieces might be 1/4 inch plate. You can always use some heavy plate for stuff. So I'm going to call a break for right now, go in and eat some lunch, and then I will come back out and start cutting this thing a piece in parts. Hey everybody, I'm back after lunch. Went ahead and put all of the stuff I've already removed off of this stove up on the shelf and out of my way so that I don't have to worry about knocking it over or whatever. I am going to try a new pair of glasses today. I picked these up. Actually, I picked up a couple of things the other day just, to have out in the barn for safety items. So hold on one second. I'm going to flip the screen over, and then I'll show you what I got going on here. All right. I went and bought myself a nice big fire extinguisher just in case I have any issues. Because, barn's made out of wood. I'm playing with fire and sparks all the time. And then I picked up a pair of Radnor cutting glasses. Supposedly they can be used for both acetylene torch and plasma. I'm going to try it with my plasma torch, see how I like them, Worst case scenario, I'll go back to using the welding helmet, and I save these for when I have a settling torch. But I'm going to get to cutting this thing up. I've got my ground clamp set up, cleaned off of ground, and then I cleaned a piece of bare metal on the front here to get the torch started. Get these front panels cut out, and then I'll just cut up the rest of it and stack it all out of the way and get to work on something else. Okay, get everybody caught up here. I got the front doors cut out. Both of those are sitting over here. Tried to save as much of the door frame as I could because they both have the hinges on them. And when I go to reuse them in the maple sap evaporator, I'll just clean the edges up and just weld them straight to that tank so that you just get a pre-made door built in. So I did set up I figured out how to put you guys in fast forward. So I set up the camera, did some time lapse while I cut all this out. And now I'm just going to turn the camera off, set it aside, and just blast this thing into pieces and stack it all in the corner out of the way so that I can get started and do the next project. So hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, please feel free to share it and subscribe. Comment if you'd like, and we'll see you next week.